Attention all watchers of birds. It's time for Out There with the Birds, the podcast that's sweeping the nation, or at least parts of Ohio and Wisconsin, with your hosts, Ben Lisdus and Bill Thompson III. Out There with the Birds is supported by Swarovski Optic, makers of the amazing EL series of binoculars and the BTX spotting scope, which combines the magnification of a scope with the clarity and comfort of binocular vision. Learn more at SwarovskiOptic.com. That's Swarovski followed by optic with a K.com. Tamron camera lenses offer powerful performance that exceeds your imagination. Discover the full line of ultra telephoto zoom lenses at tamron-usa.com. Red Start Birding is your new resource for birding optics, gear, and expertise. Great birding starts at redstartbirding.com. And support also comes from the Reader Rendezvous Birding Adventures from Birdwatchers Digest. Come birding with us in our favorite places. Learn more at birdwatchersdigest.com/RR. And now, here they are, Bill and Ben.
Ben, it's time for another episode, you might even say, of Out There with the Birds. But we're inside. We're not out there with the birds right now. It's a little too cold to be
chilly out there.
Yeah. And
I
welcome.
just saw a northern flicker just shoot by my field of view of this picture window. Was that
a yearbird?
Yeah, that's a yearbird for me. So I'm just gonna.
So we'll start off today's episode, which I think is episode 28, with a conversation about the Out There with the Birds Global Big Year Challenge.
Ooh.
Where?
Is it time to weigh in?
Just to remind people, if they didn't listen to all our episodes consecutively and they didn't catch our reference to this in the last episode, that you and you actually brought it up.
I pretty much threw the challenge out there.
You did. You threw the gauntlet down.
Yep.
And you said, let's challenge each other to see who can see the most birds in the next year. And we started in January, pretty close to January 1.
Yep.
And we just did our first tally when you came down to Marietta for a week of work.
Yeah, because we're 2 weeks into this, right?
Right.
So
getting on 3. So where are you? Let's lay our cards on the table.
Well, all right. So right now I'm at 37
It's really
species.
good.
You know,
it's really good.
So it's. I mean, I haven't been going for it yet necessarily. I'm I'm letting the birds come to me at this point. My boss has been working me like a dog lately. I've been having lots of projects going on.
Dude, you need a new job if that's the case.
Yeah. So I'm and it's winter too. So not at the peak of diversity in Wisconsin in terms of what we're seeing. Best bird of the year for me though was the pine grosbeak.
Yeah, that's a good one,
Yeah.
man. I can only hope to catch up on that one. Maybe
that's my ace in the hole.
It is. It's your ace hole.
That's
maybe I could get that one in Colorado in June.
All right. I'm pulling for you.
There's a chance. Or maybe not. They may be gone by then. I don't.
But just to give you an idea of kind of the pace at which I am hunting these birds down, I just got first of the year this morning, mourning dove.
Great.
So it's because I'm just got a lot of other things going on. But when we jettison to Florida soon, warmer climates, a lot more. That's where all of our northern birds are right now.
Right.
Not all of them, but of course.
Except for that one mourning dove.
That's right. That's right. I think we're going to just see my numbers rocket up there, especially in the gulls.
Really?
Yeah, especially I'm going to clean up on gulls there.
Well, if you took your number for the Out There with the Birds Global Big Year Challenge,
doubled it and added 10,
just doubled it, and yeah, I'm somewhere north of 75.
Oh, okay.
But I've been, I've been helping you as you've been here.
Yeah, we got saw white owl the other night.
Yep,
that was great.
Hermit thrush.
I didn't put hermit thrush.
You didn't?
There. No, because you said, "Do you hear that hermit thrush?" And I didn't catch it, and it was quiet after that. Same with the barred owl, and I am gonna when I have my list, it is pristine. Integrity. It is list integrity. So, but I know I'll get hermit thrush. I know I'll get barred owl.
Okay, I like your confidence, and that's good. Winter birding is not as easy in many ways. In some ways, it's easier because you can do a lot of it right from inside. And I was just looking around at the feeders here. There's about 20 towies at the feeder here. I've never seen that before. We should change this podcast to Talking Towies.
Talking towies. I like that. Okay. I like that.
So you do have towie on your Global Big Year.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, good. So speaking of winter, I was thinking, you and I are both kind of into swimming as a fitness thing. I've recently gotten back into it. You've been into it for a while.
Yeah, I had to give up running a while back, and trying to find a way of just kind of keeping moving that was easy on the body, and swimming.
You're getting up there,
and I'm getting up there. I really enjoy swimming. I've always liked water. I've always been comfortable in water. Never been a real solid kind of distance swimmer, but picked it up about just started maybe about 2 years ago, and it's taken that long for me to get kind of comfortable just doing laps.
Wait a minute, what's your sign? Are you a water sign?
I'm a Libra.
What's that?
It's the scales.
I know. Is that a fish?
No, there's not
fish scales.
Not fish scales. No.
The scales of justice.
The scales of justice.
Okay. All right. Well, good. So I'm a Pisces, which is a fish. I love being in the water. So you were giving me some pointers on swimming.
Yep.
And I was thinking about, we're swimming at the local Y here. It was really fun. I felt great afterwards, even though my shoulder was a little sore. But it got me thinking about winter and swimming. And I wondered, have you ever been a member of the Polar Bear Club?
This is where this isn't like a secret society. This is where
it's not like the Masons.
It's not like the YMCA where you go give the door a secret knock and welcome to the Polar Bear Club.
No.
This is where you cut a hole in the ice and jump in the water.
Right. Like a crazy person.
No, I've never done it intentionally.
Okay.
And
I've
never done it unintentionally yet. Anyways, so.
Okay. I did it unintentionally one time. I fell and through some ice that I was walking on a creek, and it was pretty scary. Well, I was just wondering about that, because would you ever do that?
I don't think so. I don't.
Really?
No.
Because you seem like kind of. I mean, we went sled riding the other night with Phoebe and Liam, and you were like bombing down the hill, hitting the mogul. You were way into it.
Yeah, I mean, I love winter and being outside, and I love just doing fun things
that
like
one
that.
Thing more, and combine two of your favorite things: winter snow sports and swimming.
Oh,
I think it's.
I don't think people in the Polar Bear Club go swimming. I think they just jump in the water and they jump out as fast as they can and try to warm up.
What about if you could be a member of the Polar Bear Club by killing a seal with your bare hands and eating it on the ice? Would you do it then?
That sounds like when we get our Out There with the Birds reality TV show.
All right. Well, birding gear.
Yeah, I thought it would be a good time to talk about birding gears. We were getting ready to travel and go places, and we spend a lot of time talking about birds, of course,
right.
and birding is great. One of the things that I tend to like about birding, though, is kind of all the gear you get to haul around and use, whether it's optics or cameras or things. And as we travel and go birding, there are pieces of kit that are indispensable. You just also always find this is what I'm taking with me. And as we're going through the airplane, you can read the in-flight magazines, and they always have this is what this celebrity will always, they're essentials for traveling. And I always think of what are birders essentials for travel? What does so and so find indispensable? And as I think that as you and I, as people who spend a lot of time in different habitats, different climates, different locations, countries, what have you, we probably have it pretty well dialed in terms of what I know I do, what I like to travel with. Mm-hmm. And what I think makes it easy. And I just, kind of grab the same half a dozen things, and these are the essentials.
And what are some of those?
Well, so I think a good pair of boots is critical. Footwear is critical. I always
your Danner boots.
I love my Danner boots.
Okay.
They're just kind of robust. They're super, super comfortable. They're a little on the heavy side,
mm-hmm.
but they're not too warm. They're seldom are they too cold. When I was out tromping around in the snow the other day, they're not quite snow boots, but
they're old school leather boots, though.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. But they're they're stable. They have a lot of ankle support. And the last pair that I had, it took me literally over 20 years to wear them out. They last forever. And what I like about that is you wear them in, they get comfortable, and mm-hmm. it fits you like a glove. And once you do that, to be able to have something that has the longevity and durability. They're great. I've had my last Danner boots all over the world, whether we're, in Israel or Alaska or Costa Rica. They've just, they've tromped dirt in many different places. And as soon as I wore them out, the first pair, I went out and got another pair. So,
now, are they broken in already?
They're broken in. I wear them all the time. Whether even when I'm not out birding, just go out and walking the dog or something, and
Right.
the traction on them is outstanding. So, Danner Boots, if you're listening, want to become a sponsor of the podcast, shoot me an email, ben@birdwatchersdigest.com.
We
We'll
can
cut a
send you a
deal.
picture
Granted, I don't need a pair of boots because I have them, and they're going to last me 20 years. So, but anyways. So
we can send you a picture of Ben walking the dog in his Danner boots.
But, and then, also rain gear, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, we're everywhere a good shell or rain gear. What? Oh,
Red-shouldered hawk.
Red-shouldered hawk. Another
Life bird or
right,
yearbird.
Yearbird for me. So I'm at 38 now.
Wow, we might rocket you to 40
before the end of this podcast. Rain gear, a nice
Right.
windbreaker.
Right.
It's like the dual shell
Right.
is critical.
You have a brand that you like in particular?
That's one of those pieces of gear where I tend to wear out. Last time I was in Austria on a birding tour there, I wore out my rain jacket, and so I went to some outdoor shop, somewhere in Austria. I forget the name of the town even, but got a nice rain jacket there, and it was some European brand. I don't even know what it's called.
So we're not going to get a sponsorship.
We're not going to get a sponsorship from them
Because that's what this is all about, is mining for sponsorships. I have a couple outerwear. I have a Helly Hansen that I really like, and Columbia gear can be pretty nice. And you want that outer shell that's going to shed the rain, and sometimes you want a little bit of something softer and more skin friendly on the
One
inside.
thing that I, as a birder, I try to avoid, which can be a little bit challenging when you're talking about some of this outerwear, is they tend to be in these really bright colors. And I don't like to be out in the field in a bright orange jacket or a
Right.
bright yellow or
Right.
etc. So trying to find them in a little bit more kind of earth tones where you're not going to stick out like a sore thumb in the woods.
It's just like that book says, good birders don't wear bright colors.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. For me, when I'm traveling, I like to have a small little bag that I can
Yeah.
get my gear in and out of, like
Totally.
my digiscoping rig,
Do you use a backpack?
No, I don't.
Waist pack?
I use a waist pack.
Yeah, me too.
I have one of those Vanguard Endeavor waist packs that I like. The flap opens away from you so you can see right in. You're not looking over the flap. It's kind of a well-designed little bag. And I've taken that all over the place. And I find that it forces me, when I'm leaving wherever I'm getting up from in the morning, it forces me to think very light about packing very lightly. So,
Yeah.
little small thing of sunscreen, small thing of bug juice if I need it, lens cleaning stuff, wallet, passport.
I always carry a flashlight in mine.
Yeah?
Always,
Yeah.
because even when you need a flashlight,
Yeah.
you really want one.
really
And the flashlights these days, you can get these really compact, high output
Yeah.
flashlights.
Yeah.
Phoenix is a company that makes some really nice LED flashlights. Surefire is another company that I got this little Surefire light that I'll carry around with me. And more often than not, I don't need it, but it's just there in my
Right.
pack when I do.
I also always carry, not onto airplanes, but I always carry some sort of a Leatherman or a multi-tool thing. I can't even tell you the number of times I've been in some far-flung corner and my tripod's been loose, or there's a screw that's coming out of the van, like literally reattaching bumpers and stuff. And it's good to have a tool that's got pliers and screwdrivers and a blade and that kind of stuff.
I've stopped carrying those. I used to carry those all the time, and I
'cause
stopped
I'm with
because
you and I've got it.
Well, and invariably it gets it's in my carry-on or something, and it gets taken through a security checkpoint. So
You sure seem to know a lot about gear and stuff like that, Ben.
Well, I try. Well, and as you know, Bill, I was with I worked at Eagle Optics for 16 years doing sales and marketing there, and then went to Birdwatchers Digest, where I get a chance to lead tours with you and do some writing and that kind of some marketing work.
Podcasting.
Podcasting.
Don't forget that one.
Exactly. But recently we got a new sponsor for the podcast, Red Start Birding.
That's right.
And
I love those people.
I love those people. And this is getting back to my roots in birding. Getting back into optics, really. I mean, optics and gear for bird watchers. So launching this retail operation that we're doing, where leveraging our collective years of bird watching
It was like
gear
180.
expertise. Exactly. And I love optics. I have binoculars, and I just know so much over the years. I've picked up so much knowledge about binoculars and spotting scopes, and sharing that knowledge and making other people's birding experiences better by using it is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Actually. So
you get some joy out of that, don't you?
I get quite a bit of joy out of it, because I think people, when they have the right tools, they have a better experience.
Oh, yeah.
And as much as we like using gear, it really is just a kind of a pass through to experience the birds. But you want to be sure it's a good pass. You want to be sure that when you're looking at the birds, you don't want to be thinking about your binoculars. You want to be thinking about the birds.
Right.
Their binoculars shouldn't be causing you frustration. They shouldn't be too heavy. They shouldn't be difficult to use. They shouldn't be falling apart.
My first binoculars I used, I didn't even know for 5 years, didn't even know about the diopter. And I always wondered why, after I'd been birding, for maybe an hour or so, I had a headache.
Yeah, because one eye is sharp and the other eye is...
My eyes and brain were just trying so hard to compensate. It was just, nobody knew.
Yeah.
And there was no Google back then.
Yep, and now we've got resources of plenty, and I'm hoping that Red Star Birding is going to be a really useful resource for a lot of bird watchers out there.
So if people want to know more about Red Star Birding, tell them where they can find out.
Well, redstarbirding.com is probably the best place to start, I would say.
Smart to do.
So, yeah.
URL just like that, just rolls right off the tongue.
Bing! So what kind of binoculars do you like to use?
That's a good question.
Like, people always ask me what binoculars you use, and I always will tell them it kind of depends where I'm going or what I'm doing, and I'm the kind of person that is lucky enough to have more than one pair of binoculars I can choose. So if I want a pair of 8s or I want a pair of 10s, if I'm going up to Alaska where it's open habitat, a lot of coastal habitat,
Distant.
10s,
Yeah.
even, Swarovski makes these 12 by 50 ELs. Those are fantastic for birding up there. Normally, I wouldn't recommend 12 power binoculars anywhere under any circumstances, because I find them difficult to hold steady. But for some reason,
those really aren't, though. They're pretty light.
These binoculars have a great ergonomic balance to them. They're easy to hold steady. And B, really when you're looking really long distances, they make all the difference. These little specks of white up on the top of these mountainsides there, looks like they could be blobs of snow. You put up those 8 by 42s maybe, and you're just thinking, maybe it's a blob of snow, maybe it's not. You put up the 1250s, and you're like, oh, those are sheep up there.
Right.
But generally, I like an 8 by 32.
Yeah.
For the size. That's I think
That's
you
your
know
go-to
that's
all
my
thing.
go-to size, because I find it to be really nice and portable. Way more performance than a compact binocular, for sure. This would be like a mid-sized binocular.
Right.
But 8 by 32s generally have a really wide field of view too. And as a birder, a wide field of view on a pair of binoculars, to me, is probably one of the more important attributes.
So you like 8 by 32 better than 8 by 30?
What kind of question is that?
Well, yeah, it's a
8 by
kind of
30,
question.
8 by 32,
Doesn't really matter?
Yeah, I mean,
8 by
it's
42?
8 by 42, then you're going to get into a full-size binocular. And of course, the disadvantage there is you're just got more weight around your neck and in your hands. And to me, comfort with binoculars is right up there with good field of view. You have to have something that just you're going to hold and handle those binoculars more than you're going to look through them.
Right.
So,
right. And I really find that, speaking of comfort when using binoculars, I always use a bino harness, like some sort of a harness system for my to suspend my binoculars around my body, not just around my neck. Really, they take it from being around the strapping around your neck to being kind of across your back and around your shoulders.
Yeah. I mean, I use a harness strap often, but when I wear it kind of like across my chest almost, instead of the full-on harness, because I take my binoculars on and off a lot, because I'm often sharing them with people and saying like, hey, try these out, check these out.
Well, sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring.
I get that. But, and plus it's more suave.
But just wearing them straight up around your neck, that is really uncomfortable to me. Your neck
can't
seems
do
like a
that
horrible
anymore.
place to hang something heavy.
Right. When I bought my first nice pair of binoculars back in, I want to say, maybe the late 90s, it was Swarovski SLC. And I think I bought them from you, actually.
Yeah, you might have.
And they were incredible binoculars. I mean, it was a quantum leap for me because I'd been using sort of some older hand-me-down binoculars.
I had a pair of those 10 by 42 SLCs. That was my first real high-end binocular, actually.
Yeah, mine too.
10 by 42 Swarovski SLC.
Very heavy.
Yeah,
And the strap that I had for them, I got one of those neoprene kind of bungee straps that I think Optech made back then. And the problem was because of the weight, if you were walking fast, like somebody said, "Oh my God, the bar-tailed godwit," and it bounced.
You're bruising on your chest.
Yeah, and I tell the story when I give talks about bending over to pick up little baby Phoebe, who was tottering over to me, and
This is your daughter, not like a little baby bird.
No,
yeah.
I wouldn't pick up a baby bird.
Yeah,
but the Binoc smacked her right in the face, and it was a horrible moment for me, and turned Phoebe off to birding for almost 2 decades. But beside the point, then here came the Bino harness, the sort of harness system concept, and to me that's one of the greatest inventions.
And speaking of binoculars and weight, we were talking about how I love binoculars with a wide field of view. I like binoculars that are comfortable and easy to handle and hold. One thing about weight with binoculars is that I would always discourage people from going is don't think lighter is always better. One thing with these, the SLCs, what makes them super good is this great glass that was in them, right? And certainly with the premium binoculars that you see these days, you're buying them for maybe certainly the durability, the design, the engineering, but the optical clarity can be so outstanding on these pieces these days. But one thing to make note of is that really high-end glass is denser. It's a dense glass, so it's...
Didn't it used to be leaded glass, actually?
Yeah, and it's a lead-free glass, but it's still a really dense glass. And as a result, the high-end, if you want really good optics, you're going to end up with something that's going to be a little bit heavier. If you're looking at, let's just take 8x32s. If you're looking at 8x32s that are around, say, $300-400, they're going to be always lighter weight than 8x32s that are going to come in, with those real premium ones. They're going to run, $1,500 to $2,200, $1,500, $2,200. But that's where a situation where I'd say, the weight pays off.
Yeah.
But if you want that really, really nice view that this premium binoculars offer, you're going to have to take a little bit extra weight for it. And that's just the weight of the glass. But and binoculars are one of those things where quality is something that's going to be a little bit heavier, usually.
Right. But the good news is that while you're adding weight to your body, you're subtracting weight from your wallet.
That's true. That's true.
So it kind of balances out.
That's true. You know what binoculars that we saw recently that I was really impressed with? Those Swarovski Companion CLs, those 8x30s, the new one. That is probably the lightest weight binocular that I have ever been able to handle. That I would say, like, I could bird all day long with this. I would feel as though I was making no compromise in performance for having something that light. I was really, and granted, I haven't had a chance to spend a lot of time birding with them. We saw one of the first ones in the country here, so didn't get, it was just kind of a sitting around looking at it, but we didn't get a chance to spend a day birding. But when we go to Florida for the rendezvous, I'm gonna
next week.
That's gonna be next week. I'm gonna spend some time birding with those 8x30s because I was blown away by those on first impression. And for a pair of Swarovskis, they're one of the more moderately priced pair of Swarovski.
What's one of those going to cost somebody?
I think they're priced around $1,200. So
but it's a modest $1,200.
It's still an investment, of course. Sure. But if you look at some of these other premium binoculars, they're going to get north of $2,000 pretty quick. So anyways, I'm excited to spend some more time with that binocular.
Yeah, and it's funny when I pick those up. I have to admit I have a little bit of a bias against tiny little binoculars, like ones that are like barely as big as a sandwich,
Yes.
And you pick those up and you put them to your eye and you're like, whoa. You don't expect the view that you get, the clarity from such a small unit. So they're
really well engineered. Cool. It was a really well designed piece.
Yeah, that's one of those aha moments where you get it. You're like, okay, this is...
I wasn't as big of a fan of the previous generation of that binocular, but the one that they just came out with, it really knocked my socks off.
Oh, and this just in, Swarovski's just come on as a sponsor of this podcast.
Oh yeah, and
breaking news.
Yes, and fantastic to have them, supporting the podcast, and I was a huge fan of theirs, always.
Right.
They're one of these companies that not only makes great products, but they really have a super high degree of integrity in the way they conduct business, customer service. They're a company that, you know, they've always got your back. You buy one of their products, they're going to be they want it to be working well, they want it to be functioning well, and they're going to do whatever it takes to be sure that you have a good experience with their stuff after you've bought it.
Like if something goes wrong, send it back and
send it back. They're able to service things right here in the U.S. of A. You know, their products are made in Austria, of course, but a really, really top-notch company. And granted, you know that you've got lots of other great optics manufacturers out there too that will make things that are, you know, just as good. You know, they're just not sponsored with this podcast.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, you know, I think we've probably given the people enough gear talk right now. But what was that URL again for
redstartbirding.com? And not only does it have optics, it's got lots of optics there, but it has some of the other stuff, you know, socks, right? I mean, we're talking about footwear. What's the point of having a really nice, comfortable pair of boots without
some socks?
If you're going to have these kind of like mealy cotton kind of socks that are damp or, you know, socks that wick moisture, critical. I'll wear lightweight wool socks in the tropics even because they breathe, they wick moisture. So
you can wash them and
you can
reuse them.
And so you
can't
at
wash them,
Red Start Birding, we've got these no fly zone socks,
right,
which have promethium in them for, you know, anti-tick essentially, which is great.
Oh, and I think it may work for chiggers too.
Yeah. So and they're 100% merino wool and made in the U.S.
Right. You love merino wool.
I love merino wool because it's comfortable. It's not this kind of scratchy wool. It breathes. It's lightweight, and it, you know, that lanolin. I mean, it kind of is self-cleaning. You know, if you get done with a day in the field with some nice wool socks or a nice wool shirt, you know, hang it up, dry it, and it'll just kind of air out, and you can actually, you know, round two for someone who likes to pack light. So
Man, jeez. You know, I thought for Christmas I was going to get you a merino sheep.
Oh.
And then you could just make your own stuff. You could just shave that sheep.
Shear
it. I think it could
sheep shearing.
Yep. And then you could listen to some George shearing while you're shearing your sheep. And then you could make your own stuff. Cut out the middleman, Ben. It's all about that. And then you could say, look, I'm wearing these, I'm locally sourced, locally harvested.
I'm trying to figure out what's going to happen
free
first.
Range,
me doing a polar bear plunge.
Almost cruelty-free.
Actually shearing a merino sheep and making my own socks.
You know?
I think the polar bear plunge is more.
Okay.
That's going to happen first.
But if you do it, you can't be wearing any merino wool on anything.
The polar bear plunge, no merino wool.
No, it's polar bear plunges. You know, it's actually, it's a polar bear plunge, but, you know, people do it, you know, wearing almost nothing. And I think that's the whole point.
Yeah.
It's no fun. It's no fair wearing a wetsuit or a thermal.
No, yeah, of course. It has to be shocking.
Right.
Which is why people jump out of the water right away and they're not swimming.
Right.
You know, it's just like jump in, jump out.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not happening.
What else you got, man? What else you got? You got anything else?
No, I don't have anything else.
That's it?
Well, I got other like stuff that I like. I mean, you're looking at, we're talking about optics. I think, a scarf. When I like traveling, I was bringing a scarf too.
Yeah, I like traveling with
a scarf. It's a lightweight way of kind of just getting instant warmth, and you can tuck it away and pack it away.
Yeah, I like a scarf for fashion and function, but I prefer, if I'm really packing light and I'm going to be someplace kind of breezy and cold, I prefer a net gaiter.
Do you bird with a field guide still? Like, do you pack or travel with a book? Do you use apps? What do you do for bird identification? So, here in North America, you probably feel pretty comfortable. Most places you go where if you are having a hard time on a bird ID, you can, get back to the car and have to carry something out in the field with you. But certainly, I'd say going to, when we're in Honduras in March,
I'll have a field guide there.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, we're going to have the Peterson field guide that Oliver Komar and Jesse Fagan did that was launched at that Honduras Birding for Conservation thing a few years ago. We've got Houghton Mifflin's giving us those for everybody on the rendezvous, so they're going to all have.
Do I get one too?
No, I'm sorry. We just have enough for me and everyone else. But I'll let you borrow mine. When we get back, I'll let you borrow mine.
So you like a paper field guide as opposed to an app?
I can go either way. For if I'm guiding and they're in and out of a vehicle, it's great to have the paper field guide there because the batteries never run out. The screen never goes dark on screen. But I will say this, apps have come a long way in terms of usability, being able to compare similar species, being able to see sound or hear sounds, play sounds for people to. So, I really.
Have you experimented with a lot of the apps out there? I have, and I downloaded the Sibley guide, the Sibley app. I love Sibley's art. I love, in field guides, I prefer field guides that are illustrated as opposed to that have photos, and I really like the way he illustrates birds. So got that app and have never really felt compelled to explore other apps, maybe to my detriment, though.
Well,
it's got this great compare feature on there where you can compare, show, birds side by side, handy for someone like me who's trying to figure out, what kind of gull is that?
Right. And we all know that this is the year of the gull for you.
I know. I'm gonna try to dial in.
In fact,
those
next
gulls.
week, like in about a week from right now, you'll be
on a gull trip.
The gull fly-in, just
at Daytona Beach,
literally self-actualizing and tapping into the inner gull maven inside you. Your very soul.
Can you sense the anxiety I'm experiencing right now trying to...
There's a little gull-shaped flame burning in your heart.
I know.
And it's going to be so interesting to see how many gull species you come back from that. Because that might be the difference in our global Big Ear Challenge, would be that you kicked my butt on gulls. Because I'm not going to that gull thing. I'll be guiding somewhere else that day.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm counting on it.
All right.
If the pine grosbeak isn't my wild card, it'll be some gull.
Okay. Well, hey Ben, it's been great talking to you. We got to get you off to the airport. Back to America's.
I got to get back home and pack up all my gear for heading to the Space Coast Birding Festival, huh?
Right, and then
and then our Reader Rendezvous.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, until next time, happy trails.
Happy trails, Bill. Good talking to you always. Man, look at all these towies.
I know. We're talking towies.
Talking towies.
We could do a TED talk on towies.
Yeah. All right. Well, I got to go find that checklist too and add that northern flicker that came.
And the red-shouldered hawk.
And the red-shouldered hawk. That's right.
Okay, let me help you, Ben. All right. See you later.
See you.
And that's a wrap for this episode of Out There with the Birds. Special thanks to Swarovski, our optics sponsor. Learn more about their fine line of birding and lifestyle optics at SwarovskiOptic.com. That's Swarovski followed by optic.com. If you love to take photos of birds, Tamron telephoto camera lenses offer powerful performance that exceeds your imagination. Discover more at tamron-usa.com. Your source for the best birding optics is Red Start Birding. Great birding starts here, redstartbirding.com. Finally, we're also supported by the Reader Rendezvous birding trips from Birdwatchers Digest. Your next birding adventure starts at birdwatchersdigest.com/RR. Tune in next time for some more zany chats from the birding hepcats, Bill and Ben. Until then, this is Phoebe saying keep your woodpeckers peckin' and your prairie chickens leckin', and we'll see you out there with the birds.